What's up, people? Welcome back to Small Couch Reviews. It's your boy Sam.
It's your boy Jovi.
And today, thanks to the Grand Shucket, our friends, thank you, people, we got to see a screener of A Quiet Place Day One, the third movie in the A Quiet Place horror movie franchise, although this is technically the first chronologically because it shows us what happened before the world went quiet. It stars Lupita Nyong'o and Joseph Quinn, who I just looked up. Who apparently he's Eddie Munson from Stranger Things.
Yes.
And I didn't know he was British, but
Yes.
apparently he is, or English, whatever. So yeah, those two. It stars them as our protagonists in this world the day that the sound-hating aliens come down. Yeah, man. So not gonna get into too many spoilers, but I guess I kind of set up the plot. So I mean, we start in a busy New York City, right? And it's just something I was thinking, Jovi. It's just funny how much sound is made every single day that we don't pay attention to.
Right.
Like the movie, the sound engineers obviously elevated it, but when you're walking through the streets and people eating chips and the tip tap of their feet and the dings on doors and all this stuff that you just hear, you don't really notice it. No. But anyway, so Lupita Nyong'o, she starts off. She is in hospice care in this movie. I think it's cancer. I don't know what it is, but it's hospice care. So she's terminal.
Yeah.
And in that way, and her and her hospice care group go into New York City to see a play. It's just something the nurses do to make them feel good. And she really wants to get a slice of pizza. She wants to go. She wants to see this play, get some New York style pizza. Just enjoy her limited time. And it just so happens that this is the day the aliens come down and wreak havoc. So the movie is really about her and a friend she makes, Eric, played by Joseph Quinn, as they basically navigate this world, trying to survive.
Right.
Yeah, man. So, Jovi, let's start with it, bro. So I guess, we'll do what we do, the sour.
Yeah.
We'll end on the sweet. I don't actually have, but I'm sorry. I'm not going to say anything. Go ahead, bro. Tell me your sour thoughts first.
I know. So sour thoughts, because there's not really I wouldn't say a sour part. Parts of the movie. It's more like, I mean, the people that watch know how much of a stickler I am about if you're going to start a plot point or put something in a movie, or if it's something very small, I like to see it. There's something to do with wardrobe in this film that I don't know if you caught, but I caught, and it bothered me for a little bit. Then I got right back into the movie. And it's it's part of the plot, which made me I was like, oh, you introduced it, but then the next shot, the wardrobe's wrong. It's not what it's supposed to be. Then the next shot, it's right. And
okay, I see.
Yeah, I mean, well, we could talk off camera of what exactly it is, but that was literally, and that's nitpicking. But again, it was part of the plot, so it kind of pissed me off, because I was like, what was the point of showing something if immediately after you show it, it's not going to be necessary? But besides that, it's sour wise, I'm going to give a sour for people that don't like scenes, right? If you don't scenes, if you don't like quiet, this whole series is not for you.
Oh yeah, well, you wouldn't be watching this. Yeah, exactly.
No, but see, you never know. You go on a date or something like that, and it's oh, I want to go to see A Quiet Place, and you're sure, I don't even know what that is, but we would never say that because we always know what movies are out. But it'd be I don't know what that is, and you go and you're just watching. You're oh, that was really cool action. Why is everybody so silent? You're sleepy now. Now you're trying to make it's. And this is why I wanted to talk about the first two, because it's more than just aliens and quiet.
Mm-hmm.
This whole trilogy is about relationships and communication. And so there are parts in this movie where it's like, yes, it's quiet, but they're still communicating. And that's really, really cool. I feel like you're gonna have a group of people that are like, oh, I didn't like it because of those moments, but the aliens were cool. You know?
Right. Okay, I see.
So that's not a personal sour. It's a more like the masses are not gonna appreciate this one. I don't think just because it does have ridiculous amount of action compared, which is gonna go into my suite. Compared to the first two, where the first two stand alone in their masterpiece of making films, and it's all about the audio. Um, this one is the total opposite because the loudness completely gives you a different feeling than the eerie quiet.
Okay, yeah, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay.
Yeah. So like I feel like with it, it does not work as this would be not even a sour. Like personally, I don't think it works with the series. It's a great we got to see what happened, and that's lovely, but it doesn't give me the same feeling the first two did. Um, but it's not saying that it's bad, right? It just doesn't feel like the same. It doesn't feel like the same writing or even the same movie in the same franchise itself. The setting is the aliens are being quiet is, but I think the first two were way more dynamic
Okay.
story wise.
All right. My
Yeah,
bad. Was that all
that's
your
it.
sour?
No, I really have nothing, and that was stretching it, but that's story wise. I still enjoy the first two way more.
Yeah, so we'll talk about the first two in a second.
Yeah,
On my sours, bro, so is this a perfect movie? It's not absolutely perfect, no.
no,
You know, are there 3 or 4 minutes where, scenes could have, the few cut scenes it could have been a shorter movie by 3 or 4 minutes? Sure. Um, there are certain plot or things that seem to happen.
mm-hmm.
Like I'm thinking of one thing in particular where a character is in a situation, then the next scene they're not in the situation, and it's just like, okay, well, I mean, I get I'm sorry. So a character is face to face with one of these monsters, one of these aliens.
I
Quiet
immediately
and
when you
escape.
said it, I knew what
Yeah,
you were talking.
quiet. The thing walks away, but it's
Yeah,
like you still have to walk like all the way out, and they just ignored that part, and you just end up back at the safe house. So it's
yeah.
so stuff like that happens where it's like, well, I wonder how you got out of that situation, without making a sound, but nothing movie breaking. Um,
I always cut you off because you make great points. With saying that, that would have not happened in the first two films.
okay.
It,
But you also have to remember the first two were much smaller in scale than this one.
yeah, but I'm saying you wouldn't have been put in a situation that we wouldn't have seen them get out of.
Okay. Yeah, I see. I feel you.
Yeah,
Um,
that's it. I'm not.
all right, cool.
I'm
So
nitpicking.
I mean the movie's only an hour and a half, so I'm not gonna complain about the time. Um
It was perfect.
and yeah, I don't really have too many sour things. Like I said, the plot points and that's it. Maybe scenes go on a little long. Like you said, there are scenes, because it's quiet, you
Mm,
notice the visuals more. And
mm,
sometimes, like they're lingering, it's okay, you can linger on this scene, for 5 seconds, but doing it for 8 seconds just feels a little too long. Like stuff like that. Again, nothing movie breaking, but just stuff I
yeah, right.
noticed. But that's all I have for sour, bro. And I have a lot I want to gush about with this movie.
I mean, yeah, like the sweet. I won't even. I'll let you gush. I'll go and just say like again. This is the complete opposite of what the first two did, but they do it so well because when it's loud and it's terrifying, and it's done so well. It's
Yeah.
the level of there's horror films that jump scares don't get me like this movie
Mm-hmm.
because they used sound that it oh it's so good. It's
Yeah,
just
like
so good. Like it's not just like so with the first two, and I had to compare it. stepping on a piece of glass was a big deal.
Mhm.
That is earth shattering to their reality.
Yes.
This cars are exploding. Like there's at the most smallest thing, a cat hits a bell or something. You got they're everywhere. It's not just one grabbing you. Like the sound of the aliens moving through the streets, hitting the buildings, the echoes, everything was done so well. And
So I guess so.
stuff
Yeah,
that
I
they
did
like to
notice that. Like in the first one, like you said, they were very careful not to make a sound.
right.
But like like you said, like I remember there's a scene. I think it was like I think they knocked over a Monopoly board or something like that, and
Mhm.
they were terrified of that. Whereas in this one, they're walking and grass is crushing beneath their feet. I do think that being in a city, maybe I don't know, maybe they're more city sounds that they're distracting the monsters
Yeah,
versus the rural setting of the first
and
two.
yeah, and they hinted on that too, where you hear like buzzing, or you hear the city. The city is always
Yeah,
alive, and that's
yeah,
a big part of. I'm glad they picked New York because it makes
yeah.
sense. Yeah,
So,
yeah,
but I'm gonna disagree with you a little bit. I actually, in terms of atmosphere,
yeah,
I think this one is closer to the first one than the second one was. Like, I feel like, and let me explain why. In the first one, which I don't, I probably should have said this at the beginning. I love these movies. This is when I say I like horror. This is it
yeah,
because there's not
yeah,
even though there are monsters, you're not actually afraid of the monster. It's the atmosphere. It's like, yo, if I make a sound,
yeah,
I'm going to die.
yeah,
Like, that's what I love. That's why I love movies like this and Jaws and all those movies where it's not really the creature that you're afraid of, it's the things that, the atmosphere.
right,
So in the first one, there's a very like it's almost 100%. Like, you get the feeling like if these people make a sound, it's over for them.
mm-hmm.
Whereas in the second one, it was kind of the same, but they had at least a way to defend themselves because they had the little machine that can hurt them,
So the ears,
right?
yeah,
So
yeah,
it was a little bit more. I feel like like they had a little bit more quote unquote safety, whereas
yeah.
in this one they didn't know anything, bro.
They don't,
So
they
they
don't,
don't.
yeah,
So like in those moments when it's quiet and Lupita's friend is trying to turn off a generator, or they walking through an office building and like a folder falls, like like you saw me, you were sitting next to me, I was jumping, like it
yeah,
scared me, yo.
yeah,
It's like the atmosphere felt like the first one where it's like you have no hope. The only hope you
right,
have is to stay quiet.
yeah,
So I dug that. But to your point also, there were a lot more sounds in this movie.
yeah.
Like extremely, like so many more, like helicopters and boat horns and car horns and
Oh,
like you said, glass breaking. And
that's
like,
a
I mean,
sour.
there's a scene like
That's a
when
sour.
all the
That's
people are walking. I remember I was like, y'all are all in a crowd. This has to be making some sort of noise, and then immediately the
yeah.
just jump down in them. Yo,
So for me, that took way too long.
oh, it took way too long.
It took way too long for them to got because they were dumb enough to all walk together.
Right?
Like,
Like, what's wrong with you people,
so
man?
you knew by that time it was a whole day had gone by. You
Mhm.
knew, everyone knew that was hiding. You had to be quiet. Why
Yes.
would you think walking all together? And this is not a spoiler because you can see it in the
Yeah.
preview. Why
Right.
would you think walking all together? And then again, the boat horns,
Yeah.
those pissed me off because you don't know that I'm not even saying that would be a spoiler. You don't know what they can do. How about that?
Well, actually, I don't know if you mentioned they're right before that. Well, actually, I don't know if those people know.
Yeah.
Well, no, they did because they said get on these boats because of XYZ.
Yeah, but you I know that it's natural for you because I was on a ferry in New York a few days ago.
Mhm.
Like I know that you hit the horn before you leave, hit the horn when you're moving, you hit it when you're coming back in. They kept hitting the horn. I was
Well, yeah,
like,
that's true. Because
yeah,
what if one of them, like, what if they can jump really far or something like that, right? Like, yeah, like, yeah. So
because it's
you
like
don't know
you're
enough
pulling
about.
off and you're this close to the dock.
Right.
You don't know how far these things they could fly for all you
Yeah.
know. You
That's
don't
yes,
know.
that's stupid.
So that was I again, I'm nitpicking because I enjoy this film so much. But yeah,
But I would be I really so obviously so the atmosphere is good.
yeah,
Something else I loved in this movie, the characters I thought were excellent. Now, oh, something else. I'm sorry. There's a little bit of a sour. Joseph Quinn, the nice young white man.
yeah.
His motivation. I mean, I get it, but it's just I felt like it was. I feel like it was kind of weak and very weird. So Lupita is terminal,
Mhm.
and he is legit traumatized.
Yeah,
Like from the moment you see him, all the death that he experienced when these aliens came, he was traumatized. So those two kind of working together, I feel like it was a nice little friendship. Um, I want Lupita specifically when she said, "I don't care," like how man, she was like almost apathetic.
mhm.
But it's like if I were dying, right, and the world is ending, like would I act any differently? Like I don't know. I really don't. It's like yeah, I know all this is happening, but I'm dying. I really want a slice of pizza.
Yeah,
I want to go to the old place that I used to go to when I was a kid. Like, I mean, I'm gonna die anyway, so maybe I can take this risk. And I think it's a bold choice because as an audience member, you could be like, well, she's gonna die anyway, so I don't really care what happens.
right.
But her acting
Oh my
like
god.
made it so you were like, yo, I want you to get where you need to go before this movie ends.
So like the little bit that you get in the previews of her, like she has the ability to act without speaking. Like,
Yes,
you
that's the
know,
other thing.
she can do that, but then when she does speak, or you meet, even when you first meet her, you're like, I like this character. Let's see what happens.
Real,
Does she survive? You
real
know,
quick, her accent is also very good in this movie. Yeah, like
Mhm.
very good. She sounds like she was born and raised in New York. But go ahead.
Yeah, no, straight up. And that's what I said.
And I know how she actually sounds. So
Right. And it's like you want, like you said, you got to like, that was a interesting choice to make her sick,
yeah,
right?
man.
But it worked because I really was I know for a fact I'm not getting another story
With
after
her,
this. Yeah, with her.
yeah,
It could
she was
be
terminal. Yeah.
yeah, no, yeah. So
Well,
it's
I mean,
like
I guess you technically could. Maybe you could do like the day after. I don't know, but
yeah.
like, go ahead.
Right. And so for me, that's what it was like. All right, I know I'm not getting another story. But I mean, granted, I didn't think we were going to get a quiet place too. So I didn't know.
Yeah, man. Like
So
John Krasinski, this universe he's created, I don't know. He struck gold with it, bro.
he really did. And he like as a trilogy, it's excellent. Even with my statement before where I feel like it doesn't give the same feeling, but it does make I love the idea that we got to see the beginning.
Yeah. So I mean, like so like in the second one, I think we got a little bit of it.
Yeah,
Like it showed like when they landed and what John Krasinski and the family from them when they were doing at the baseball
yeah,
game or whatever, and how they had to survive the first day.
yeah,
And like even him, and I maybe again, maybe it is a characterization thing. I feel like he saw instantly he
yeah.
heard a phone ring, he's like, up, we're out. He like
Right.
knew like we can't make sound. So
Right.
um but real something you
I
said.
wouldn't know. I wouldn't know. I don't. And I personally would say I would not survive. I would not
I know I
have
wouldn't.
survived any of that.
Speaking of what I was about to say, when you said acting without making a sound, Joseph Quinn, there's a moment, there's a scene that takes place in a store in this movie
Yeah.
where there has to be quiet, but like because he's traumatized, he legit is like he's having a panic attack where he can't control his face. Now,
Mhm.
normally in these movies, like when characters do stuff, and I'm like, yo, like there are rules. Be quiet or you die. Like I usually have
Right.
no sympathy for people who
Right.
can't
Right.
be quiet. But again, because they're these characters are, I guess, developed so well, it's like, yo, if that were me, right? And I'm walking through this situation, could I actually be quiet? Like, could I actually not shiver and tremble and try to keep it controlled while I'm having a panic attack?
or
Like you can't even let out
let
a
out
deep
a breath,
sigh. Yeah, like and it's
or
so
a
at that
sigh.
point I'm like, I can't be mad at you. And like Lupita, her eyes were meeting his eyes, and without saying a word, like you
Yeah,
said, you could see she's like, yo, you have to keep it together. We're
yeah,
almost there. Please don't do this. And he's like, in his eyes, is like, it's not gonna work. Like I'm legit going down, yo.
right.
It was wild. I like that was an excellent scene.
I
Again, just
can't.
one of many filled with so much tension.
I couldn't imagine hiccuping. Well, yeah. So we got that. We got a lot of on the edge of your seat. We
Yes,
also got a lot of action.
that's
Like,
true. Something else that I thought I wish they explored a little more than they did. We got to see the monsters. I feel probably the most more than the other two movies. Like we got to see them up close and everything.
and we got to
Especially
see
we
them
got to
interact with each other.
interact with each other and like we saw how they eat, like what they were eating.
Yeah,
And I just I kind of like these things. I feel like they're not malevolent, if that makes sense. Like they're clearly a danger to us, but I feel like they attack sound and then they go and eat what they want to eat. It's not like they're not like conquerors, if that makes sense.
right.
Like I feel like I feel like we got a little bit more insight into what they are, but I wish we got maybe in future movies we'll actually understand why they came here and what they actually want to do with the planet. But
And that's the whole thing with this universe that he's created. But it's sound that's terrifying. It's just as scary as Freddy. Everybody has to sleep. Everybody makes sound.
Everyone has to make sound. Everyone has to take a breath. Like, yo, like you're right, man.
And so it is so terrifying. Them not having a background still makes them terrifying.
Yeah, bro. And what's funny? This movie, like, there are some jump scares that are telegraphed that still got me. Others that weren't. And then it does this thing that really gets me where you think there's going to be a jump scare and then just nothing happens.
Right.
Like, yo, they get it. Like, they're like.
There's one that got me that I keep thinking about that completely just like my heart jumped out of my chest.
Oh, yeah, me too. I think I know which one you're talking about. Like, had to be with there's one with our boy, Eric, that happened. Where I was like, yo, like I'd have been like, yo, kill me now. Like, no way.
So nah.
Yeah, I mean, so obviously, I mean, if like we said, I think we enjoyed this movie.
Very much.
It's definitely different than the first two. A lot more sounds, a lot more talking.
Mm-hmm.
Especially because they can't work with sign language in this one. So yeah. But overall, man, I really enjoyed it. I like my nitpicks aside, I do think it's great.
Right.
I'd give this one probably like a 4.25 out of 5. Like I think it's a little bit above a 4. It's not perfect, like I said, but I think it's a little bit above a 4.
I'm gonna give it a 4, and I'm gonna give it a 4.5 because it would have got a 5 if it somehow stayed true to the first two completely. That's it. It's like, honestly, everything I said you can throw out.
Well, actually, you know what? Maybe I'll go a little higher. That something else I loved, the ending scene.
Oh, yeah,
the ending scene and the ending shot. I was like, that was perfect.
Yeah.
Perfect.
That was perfect. It was. I love that. I absolutely love how they ended that film.
It was just,
and that's very
that was
great.
a masterpiece ending, man. So
there wasn't me just staring at the screen like I usually do because movies end really bad now. It was more like, yes,
that was
that's how you end a story.
That was really good, man. But yeah, all right, man. So Quiet Place Day 1 comes out this weekend. I think you guys should see it if you're a fan of the franchise or you're a fan of horror in general.
Yeah.
And when you do, let us know what you think right down there in the comments, guys. Thank you so much for watching. And until next time, we out.
Deuces.